Welcome everyone. Today we'll have an enhancement guide video on Genshin Impact. I was recently told by a viewer who actually discovered this system, so I really want to share this with you guys. So we're going to touch on three things here today. The first thing is what the viewer told me. So currently weapon and artifact count cannot exceed 1,000. And once they're over 1,000, the game will automatically delete and sell the lowest tier of weapon and artifact and turn that into Mora. And this does automatically as you loot those beyond 1,000. So that's very important. I'll also show you guys how to check if you have those gears over 1,000. Second to that, you guys might have noticed that sometimes when you enhance artifact, you get a ×2 or ×5 experience bonus. So this is not a mistake that we want to avoid like the first tip, but rather something we need to be aware of. If we'll be aware of the lucky enhancement mechanics in the game, which I'll show you guys in a replay, so what this is going to do is it's going to save you a lot of experience materials. And as F2P players, most of us are, you want to keep as much of those materials as you can. Because if you allow yourself for the ×2 or ×5 chances before you get to +8, 12, 16 and 20 with your artifact, you can technically save quite a bit of resource. And this can, get you 120 or 30% of your experience. Lastly, as we acquire new weapons and artifacts, likely we'll want to transfer the current one, maybe that's a 3-star, maybe it's an old 4-star artifact, to the new one. What we need to be aware of is the transfer rate. 90% of the experience that's on the current artifact or weapon can go to the next gear. But keep in mind, there is also a moral cost. So the amount of cost for getting an artifact from +8 to level 12 is closely over 600,000 mora. So keep that in mind. This is more like a mistake people commonly make, because knowing that there's a transfer rate, they tend to upgrade too many weapons and artifacts, knowing that they want to transfer them to the new ones later. But if you hold on to it, maybe stay on level 8, don't go to level 12 right away, because the cost of Mora is so much higher as you go beyond. We talked about not having over 1,000 weapons and artifacts. For the artifacts, it's quite straightforward. So what you do is you click into the artifacts, you click onto set, and you will see how many artifacts you have for each of the sets. I did a quick calculation, and I kind of used a bit of my artifact to avoid this. Previously, before I upgraded, I was sitting about 600 to 700 artifacts in total. And we want to make sure that you constantly are using some of those so that you don't go beyond 1,000 of total artifacts. Otherwise, they will start to delete the lower tiers of those. For example, the lower tiers over here with the tier 1 will get deleted and they will be sold into Mora automatically. As for weapon, what we can do is we can open a bag and we can have a quick glance of the number of weapons. It is much harder to glance the weapons, so what I do is instead of trying to count if I'm over 1,000, I try to use away a lot of the low tier level 1 weapons and the tier 2 weapons. This way, I don't use my enhancement materials first. Previously, I was using a lot of the enhancement materials, I wasn't using the low tier weapons, because it's so much quicker to click this than click like 20 times to use the low tier weapons. And I'll give you guys an example over here. For example, if I was to upgrade this bow, what I usually do is I usually go into 2-star material and I start clicking away the higher tier enhancement materials. This is so much quicker, but the downside is you're not spending your low tier weapons, and you really want to do that. So what you can do is start with the tier 1 weapons and just go add material and finish those off first. You want to get them done so this way they don't build up to 1,000. It's very easy to build up the weapons to 1,000 because people tend to actually use the enhancement materials instead of the weapons. It's not the case for artifact, because you'll be using artifacts constantly to reduce those numbers. You definitely want to keep your weapons under 1,000. Now we talked about the ×2 and ×5 enhancement potentials. Let me show you guys the replay I had with those potential procs, and how can we prepare ourselves for the best use of this particular mechanics to reduce the number of costs for +8, 12, 16 and 20 enhancement. You can see over here I'm sitting on a +0 item and I'm just enhancing normally, and what's going to happen is you'll say enhancement successful each time I click enhance, and this is always the case. But notice here, this time it actually set 2 times enhancement experience. So what's happening is the material I left there will give me double the experience. So basically I turned 6 material into 12. This happens randomly at a certain rate. I'm not sure the exact rate. I tried to look it up, but it's not disclosed. It happens about once out of 10 times, or maybe once out of 15 times for this one. So let me show you guys the ×5 enhancement as well. Here I'll be enhancing a +4 artifact to +8. That is my goal. I'm not planning to get this artifact to level 12 for now, but potentially if I get a good sap stats, I might go for level 12. But the goal right now is to get to level 8. And you can see as I start to enhance, something very nice is going to happen. And notice I'm getting to +6, and I'm about to get to +8 very soon. Usually I just do the basics and I just keep enhancing. Notice here, I got a massive enhancement of 5 times experience enhancement. And what this takes me is from +7 to +10. I was not expecting this, and this is the first time it happened to me. I was very fortunate I actually recorded this. So what this means is, at level 7, with a chance of ×5, what I could have prepared myself is, maybe I could put a few less enhancement materials if I only planning for level 8+. And this way, if I get a plus or ×5 or ×2, my enhancement materials will take me to +8 directly. This way I don't overspend the enhancement materials. Here I kind of overspent to +10. It's tempting me to go to +12 now because I'm so close to it. And I probably will because I rolled into a critical rate, which is very nice. So the idea behind of how can we save enhancement materials with this particular mechanics is that if my target is +8, 12, 16 or 20, before I get there, maybe at the +7, maybe a +11, maybe a +4, maybe a +15, maybe a +19. During those levels, I try to use less materials because I'm allowing for ×2 or ×5. If I happen to get a ×2 or ×5, those materials will be doubled, and I might go over 11 to 12 or 13. So the resources are kind of wasted if I don't plan to go beyond 12, or if I don't plan to go beyond 16. And because purple artifacts only go to level 16 and legendaries only go to level 20, you really don't want to hit the level cap with exceeding experience. So what I mean by not having experience exceeding the target goal is here my target is +12. And by not allowing for the ×2 experience, notice I have a gap over the level 12. I want to minimize how much exceeding experience I had. And if I allow for the ×2 enhancement, especially at +16 and +20, you can save a lot of materials. And over here, not knowing this fact, over here you can see that I actually did not save some of the experience. I could have saved a bit with a few less before level 12. To summarize, as a free-to-play player, it is important for us to manage every part of the resource in the game, and it is essential to look into gears upgrade with weapons and artifacts as we collect those critical resources from chest loots and dungeon fights. It is critical that we spend the weapons and artifacts so we don't have them exceeding 1,000, because those are crucial experience materials we can use. We don't want to sell them in tomorrow automatically. But knowing that, we don't want to carelessly transfer the weapons and artifacts just by enhancing random ones, because the cost of moral of those are very expensive. And lastly, as you enhance your artifact, definitely be aware of the ×2 and ×5 enhancement potential, because they potentially increase your enhancement effectiveness by 200 or even 500%. We do not want to exceed the experience cap, which is at level 16 and level 20 for the 4-star and 5-star artifacts. Now, if you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe and also click the little bell for more videos like this to come. As always, I wish you guys best of luck in Genshin and also have a great time exploring this beautiful world. I'll see you guys next time. Take care everyone.